In these days of pot and heroin and LSD, alcoholism is the addiction everyone forgot. We shouldn't. The Department of Health, Education, and Welfare calls it the #3 killer in the United States. There are said to be as many as 9 million problem drinkers in this country. If your vision of an alcoholic is a Skid Row bum with his cheap bottle of Muscatel in a paper bag, you're wrong. Most alcoholics, on the surface anyway, are like you and me. They drink socially, publicly, but they drink alone too. Women at home, men at the office or the factory, hiding their bottles anywhere they can, a handbag, an attaché case, a desk drawer. For the alcoholic working man, his job is a kind of anchor, an assurance to himself that he isn't really a drunk. He might let everything else in life go to pot, but he makes sure he gets to work. The statistics about alcoholism on the job are staggering. 1 of every 14 workers is an alcoholic, and as such, he is 50% less efficient. He has 3 times more days of sickness and twice as many accidents. His illness costs industry $4 billion every year. The easiest way for an employer to deal with an alcoholic is to fire him. But growing awareness of alcoholism as a treatable, if not yet curable disease, has shown industry it's cheaper to rehabilitate the alcoholic employee than to get rid of him and train another man. One outfit that takes that view is the General Motors plant in Trenton, New Jersey. Their rehabilitation program was begun a year ago by their medical director, Dr. Rufus Miller.
We had problems with alcoholics, but I wasn't able to get to them soon enough.
Why not?
Mostly, I guess the supervisors and fellow workers were protecting these individuals.
What do you mean?
Well, when a fellow would come to work late or would be shaky, hungover, get to the point where he had to leave the plant, they would cover up for him, let him go, out of good intent.
Yeah.
But that just prolonged the disease. So we felt that if we started a group meeting on the company premises, it would help the individuals to help each other.
These people have 2 things in common: their alcoholism and the fact they work for General Motors. With the blessing of management and labor, they've gotten together in a group called Venture to Help. They meet twice a month on GM property, on GM time, to air the problems which in the past would have driven them to drink.
I had to go the route of, the wife went, the kids went, the car went, the house went. Get down to a suitcase with some clothes in. The job went too. Lucky enough, I got another chance at it.
And I was thinking, how many times have I died by drinking? Almost died. I mean, my hand, 2 total cars, in a coma for 2.5 days. Now, yes, the group has helped me.
An alcoholic is just an alcoholic. I don't give a damn who you are or where you come from. If you drink too much, you just drink too much.
Between meetings, they function as a sort of alcoholics auxiliary, answering calls for help, bailing drunks out of jail, and encouraging other problem drinkers to join them.
We are unique in this plant mostly because of the Venture to Help group. I can take a personnel record of any one of our members of our group and show what it cost in time and money and sick leave, and then show this individual's record after he's been through Livingren and back into our program.
The Livingren that Dr. Miller talks about is a critical part of the GM program. It looks more like a country club than what it really is, a hospital for drunks. Located just across the Delaware from Trenton, this private, non-profit hospital treats only alcoholics. It is here that Dr. Miller sends the people who come to him for help. This is not a drying out place. Patients must be sober when they arrive for the highly structured 28-day program of therapy. In addition to GM, patients come here from the plants of AT&T and U.S. Steel. In GM's case, the company insurance pays the $800 bill. The staff at Livingren is small and specialized. It includes a number of alcoholics, like Bill Donnelly, the director of therapy. Link Reinhardt, a former patient who was recently made industrial consultant here. And the driving force behind Livingren since it began 5 years ago, Joe Potosnik.
I believe that alcoholism is a disease. I don't think it's merely a social problem or a moral problem. I think it's a disease. It's a sickness, and it has to be treated as such. We make no moral judgments on these people. They're sick. They're sick physically. A lot of times they are sick, I think, emotionally and psychologically. I think their system of values is all mixed up by the time they hit here. The very fact that many members of the staff are alcoholics and are sober and have reestablished themselves gives them some hope that, well, you know, if Joe can do it or Bill can do it or this one can do it, so can we.
In a sense, it takes one to know one, really.
I think in this sense, to know the exact feeling. I don't think you know what it feels like, really, to be an alcoholic. I think you can have some intellectual understanding of what alcoholism is. You can intellectually know the personality, but the feelings that the alcoholic goes through, I can't identify very well with them because I had the same feelings, the same fears and apprehensions and anxieties and tensions.
What's different about Lohengrin?
Oh, I think a few aspects are different, Mike. I think one of the basic differences is the home atmosphere that we create here. If you go through the hospital, you don't see any stark white corridors. I think, too, the very fact that we are small, that is, we treat only 38 patients at any one given time, it allows us to know each patient, not as a file number, but as a human being. We don't care, you know, what his color is or what he believes in. We don't care how much money he makes or what job he has. We're concerned with one aspect, is alcoholism, and we really care about this individual. We want him well more than we want anything else, and I think the patients get this feeling.
The greatest thing about this place from the alcoholic standpoint is that you're not being put into like a sanitarium where you come in, the door closes behind you and bars at the windows and like you're being committed to a mental institution. This is a home atmosphere here.
Frank Andrews is one of the employees who accepted GM's offer to come to Lohengrin. He has worked as an electrician in the Trenton plant for 18 years. The last one's marred by his excessive drinking. Alcohol cost him his wife, his chance for a promotion, and very nearly his job.
I never intended to be an alcoholic. Like I didn't wake up one day and say, I think today I'll become an alcoholic. I started to drink and more and more and more until it got to be a way of life. I was very interested in sports of all kinds. And one by one, they went by the wayside so I could devote more time to drinking until after a while, all I did is drink. And this takes a period of time. It don't happen overnight.
What was it like the first few days here, Frank?
Terrible. I was pulling out of a drunk. I was shaken apart. And they had to have peas that day. And I'm trying to get some peas on a fork, and I shook so bad. I put that down. The milk looked like it might be appetizing. I might be able to keep that down. Grabbed a hold of that and put that back down. I thought, well, now in 28 days, I'm going to starve to death at this rate. The first official thing that I got into, I think, was one of Joe's lectures. I was shaken apart, and I thought, if he talks any length of time, I'm just not going to make it. And I figured he didn't really have anything I wanted to hear anyway. But once he started to talk, and I did listen, I thought, oh, now this guy, he's had a book on me from somewhere, because this is like he'd been following me around, you know, making notes.
Where you can't even keep a drink down. I don't know how many of you have gone through that experience in the morning. I went through that in my latter stages of drinking, where I needed a drink in the morning. It was really medicine to me. You know, how can you tie a shoelace when you're shaken? And the only thing I knew was to take my medicine, which was a bottle. But I know the first one didn't stay down, or the second, or the third, or the fourth. It took maybe 7 or 8 or 9, 10 shots before it finally stayed down.
The lectures, they give you knowledge of what alcoholism is, what it can do to you, and the effect on you. But I think the group therapy was the greatest thing. The first couple I went to, why, these people have to be out of their mind. Start talking, tell them all these things. Because in the back of my mind, I thought, well, now, if this don't work, and I tell them all these things, holy smokes, I'll never be able to con anybody again. But as you stay and you get involved in it, the next thing you know, you're talking, you don't even know how you got there.
In addition to group therapy, the patients meet privately with Joe or Bill Donnelly for individual counseling. In their free hours, the patients head for the recreation room to relax at the pool table or the shuffleboard. In the warmer weather, there's a tennis court and a putting green. For the less competitive, there's instruction in ceramics, a chance for some, like Frank, who've never tried it before, to make themselves a statue or an ashtray to take home.
What goes with naughty punch?
Patients and staff alike can have their hair cut on the premises in the barber beauty shop that former patient Joe Barna has set up in the basement. And down here, Joe shares his quiet philosophy on how to stay sober.
I have to kind of work those things out, Wayne. I've got out through therapy and, you know, just stopping drinking and learning how to deal with my own emotions and things.
Nurses are on duty 24 hours a day, keeping close check on the patient's physical condition, handing out the necessary medicines as well as candy, which helps to cut the craving for a drink. While there is no official tie between Livengren and Alcoholics Anonymous, a weekly meeting of the local AA group is held on the hospital grounds and patients are encouraged to attend. They're expected to study the 12 steps and to consider membership in a neighborhood AA group once they're home. Livengren claims that 2 out of 3 patients who go through the program do stay sober. Frank Andrews feels that his stay has given him his whole life back. I asked if he felt that he was going to be able to stay off whiskey once he was back at GM.
I feel so. I have all the confidence that I will be able to. But like they say, one day at a time. To say I'm going to be sober a month from now, you're going out on a limb because you might not be.
Our experience as a generality now is that almost all of them slip once. That's another good thing about the group. These people have a grapevine, if you will. Every day they touch base with me about how are our pigeons doing. And when a fellow begins to slip, they go and help him.
One of them who needed help was Adam Pesta, married, the father of 6, a pipe fitter at GM. Adam was an old drinking buddy of Frank Andrews before Adam went to Livengren a year ago, and all went well for him until General Motors went on strike last fall.
I got uptight about it. Mr. Donnelly heard about it. At Livengren, there's sort of a grapevine. He called me. He's a very busy man. He took time to call me. I tried to assure him over the phone that I was all right. He said, come down, and right then I was full of myself. I said, no, I won't come down to talk to you. I'm all right, don't worry about it. I was conning myself. I knew then, they say, think a drink before you take it. I was. I thought I could do it. I learned by my mistake that I can't.
Looking at it from the outside, you might be tempted to say, well, why should GM bother with a drunk? Why not just fire him?
I'm there 19 years now. I wasn't always an alcoholic. I didn't always drink alcoholically. It's a wonderful thing, what they're doing. I'm eternally grateful. I feel like the luckiest man in the world, what I have today, over what it very easily could be. Before I went to Livengren, the children would generally scatter at the sight of me, and I can't blame them. And I even knew it, and I couldn't help myself. See, I would leave a bar, come home, with one purpose, is to get right back outside as fast as I can. The best way to accomplish that is to start an argument. A little needling here, a little needling there, and generally you get the response you're looking for, and then you can slam right out the door again, and you're on your way again. You have an excuse. Well, they don't want me around there anyway, so I'll go to my buddies. And you wake up in the parking lot, or on the bar sometimes, or out here in the driveway. 10 o'clock in the morning, people are cutting the grass and all, and you're sleeping in the car. It's not fun. When I came back to the plant from Livengren, I didn't hide the fact that I had a problem, that I was a problem drinker, an alcoholic. I didn't hide that, and I don't hide that today, because now I work every day, and I stand up straight and look people in the eye.
There is still no one answer to the treatment of the alcoholic, but Livengren and GM's venture to help demonstrate that compassion and common sense are not just humane ways of dealing with a problem drinker. They are good business, too. I'm Mike Wallace. Morley Safer and I will be back 2 weeks from tonight with another edition of 60 Minutes.
Mikhail Gorbachev has waged war on a crippling domestic problem, rampant alcoholism. He hasn't had much luck, and now a time-tested Western technique is being given a trial. Jan Charlton reports.
It's always been a hard-drinking country, but Gorbachev's drive to sober up the nation has made getting a drink both difficult and staggeringly expensive. With vodka production slashed 50%, a single bottle now costs 1 day's pay. But the Soviets now admit the cutbacks haven't worked. 6,000 drunks are picked up on Moscow streets every day, and because of vodka shortages, the desperate will drink anything. 11,000 people died last year from distilled eau de cologne, shoe polish, even toothpaste. Bad alcohol killed more Soviets in 1 year than 8 years of fighting did in Afghanistan. Heavy drinking has become the national scandal that everyone, including Soviet television, is finally talking about, but few people here know what to do about it. Not so J.W. Canty, an American Episcopal priest who convinced the Soviets that trying Western alcohol and drug treatment methods could be a good deal. So he began a chapter of Alcoholics Anonymous, Moscow style. The group is so new it meets where it can, in this case in the corner of a hotel cafeteria. Like AA groups everywhere, names and faces are confidential, but the stories are the same. Nightmare years of shame and desperation and disgrace. I tried doctors, hospitals, everything, this man says. I can't stop myself. Only AA and my new group friends can help. Another fresh breeze from the West. Actress Carol Burnett and her daughter Carrie, a recovering addict, came to Moscow to talk about alcohol and drug abuse. Burnett's straightforward film about a recovering alcoholic generated a Soviet television audience of 90 million people, all getting the message that treatment works.
I think the one thing we really bring is hope, and I think we bring enthusiasm. There is such an enormous feeling of hopelessness here, and that's both from the point of view of a recovering alcoholic or from a bureaucrat.
In fact, hopelessness is a Russian tradition as old as the Tsars, and the equally Russian tradition of drinking to blot out reality is not likely to die a quick death. But for those who want to change, who want a choice, there may now be a chance to hang on. Jan Charlton, CBS.
Let's see you pay for your drink. In your own inimitable fashion, huh? A song, Denton. How about it? How dry. Come on now, come on. Come on, Denton. Get up. Come on, Denton. How dry I am. How dry I am.
Charlie, can't you break that up?
Nobody knows.
I don't like it any more than you do. The misery they give that guy out there.
How dry I am. Nobody cares. How dry I am.
Come on, let's go and have some music, boys. Come on. Hey, how about that?
Portrait of a town drunk named Al Denton. This is a man who's begun his dying early. A long, agonizing route through a maze of bottles. Al Denton, who would probably give an arm or a leg or a part of his soul to have another chance.
Well, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way. bar. I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you, I tell you, I tell you we must die. Oh, moon of Alabama, now must say goodbye. We've lost our good old mama. I must have whiskey, oh, you know why. Oh, moon of Alabama, now must say goodbye. We've lost our good old mama, and must have whiskey, oh, you know why. Yeah. Oh, show me the way to the next little girl. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next little girl. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next little girl, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you